shepherd, for he looks after all the broken and bruised, all the lost and confused, and he calls us by name, and he washes away all our sins, so we bow and surrender to our good shepherd. We are all lost sometimes. We've all failed to find the joy that is found in Yeshua. But he will come after to where you wander. He will call you back to him and give you peace. Oh, he'll give you peace, for he's our good shepherd, for he looks after all the broken and bruised, all the lost and confused, and he calls us by name, and he washes away all our sins, so we bow and surrender to our good shepherd. Oh, he's our good shepherd. Oh, we may lose a few of those we love and knew, and our hearts may be broken, but he is still working, and this life is a journey, and in the midst of our hurting, he is giving us his love and his mercy. Oh, he's giving us mercy, for he's our good shepherd, for he looks after all the broken and bruised, all the lost and confused, and he calls us by name, and he washes away all our sins, so we bow and surrender to our good shepherd. Oh, he's our good shepherd. Oh, he keeps to his sheep, and he tends to the weak. He leaves the 99 to seek the one who's hard to find, and he calls us his chosen, and he blesses the broken by giving us his grace. Now we follow his ways. He keeps to his sheep, and he tends to the weak. Oh, he leaves the 99 to seek the one who's hard to find, and he calls us his chosen, and he blesses the broken by giving us his grace. Now we follow his way. Oh, he's our good shepherd, for he looks after all the broken and bruised, all the lost and confused, and he calls us by name, and he washes away all our sins, so we bow and surrender to sin, so we bow and surrender to our good shepherd.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back to the Virtual House Church. It's a blessing to be once again in this new Shabbat. All of us and this joining in this Virtual House Church, in this channel, to share the word of Yahuwah, going back to the basics, as you can see in the top of my head. And, it's a blessing to continue with this work that Rob started and initiated back in 2012 with his wife. And as I was sharing with you in the short video that I uploaded a few days ago, this being here, having the option to be joining with all of you here in Shabbat in Virtual House Church is such a blessing. I was seeing the comments the other day in the video. I feel your heart, and it's exactly what is in my heart, that more than ever in these times we need to be together. We need to be united. We need to be echad in Yahuwah, because we are his people. And the love of Yahuwah in our hearts is increasing and increasing day by day. We see what's going on in the world. We see that we are really a set apart people. That's the reality, because we are not going according to the ways of the world. We are going according to the ways of Yahuwah, because this is exactly what is in our heart. And as I told you in that video, and this is what we were even discussing here in Virtual House Church with Rob, with Jake in the past. We're starting a new cycle. And this new cycle, we are not going to go back to the book of Genesis, Bereshit in Hebrew. We are going to continue. We are going to continue with the book of Joshua, of Yahushua in Hebrew. And the idea is to keep learning from the word of Yahuwah. I'm not a teacher. Nobody of us is a teacher. I'm just a student, a disciple, a children of Yahuwah like you are. And the intention here is just to share what the Yahuwah is teaching me in order to be for your feedback, in order to be for your an additional insight for your own studies. And everything that we have been doing always, even, and Rob was saying this always, all the time, is we are here in order to share. We have only one master, one rabbi, one teacher, and that's Yahushua HaMashiach. So don't feel that I'm here teaching you, because that's not my role. I'm just sharing with you what the Abba is showing me, what Abba is teaching me, and I'm doing it with all my heart, with the idea and with the purpose for this to be an insight for your own walk in the path of Yahuwah. And all of us that we are joining, Jay, Kevin, Rob, anybody that has been joining in the Virtual House Church in the past is on the same mind, on the same heart. So, no matter that we are starting this cycle in the book of Joshua, and there's no material in Virtual House Church about the book of Joshua, the richness of the information that Rob was able to collect throughout the years is so amazing and so important what Yahuwah did through him is that I want to invite you to go to the Virtual House Church channel, and not only to go to the Virtual House Church channel, is to invite others to go and to learn and to see and to read the information and to watch the information, because there are multiple videos over there, to start the walking in the truth of the word of Yahuwah. That was the whole intention from Rob when he started this project, is going back to the basic, going back to the foundations of our belief. Because, we see multiple places in the scripture that we need to set the foundation. We have the cornerstone that is Yahushua HaMashiach, but there's a foundation for the house. And that foundation is the Torah of Yahuwah, is the word of Elohim. And the whole intention of the Virtual House Church is exactly to start building the foundation. And Yahuwah, through the Ruach HaKodesh, has been helping us and working with us throughout all this year in order to build that foundation, in order to start building the house of Elohim that is basically all of us together. So let me invite you once again, go to the Virtual House Church. Actually, I think I have the site over here. Let me put it. This is the Virtual House Church site. Go to the site, dig in on the information. There are multiple resources there in order to study the word of Yahuwah, in order to get out of Babylon and to get into the kingdom of Yahuwah. And as I said, Rob collected a lot of information, and it's a kind of also a legacy from his service to Yahuwah that is here, that is for our contribution and for our building up in the knowledge of Yahuwah. So I'm not going to go into the entire site, this site, but I will entrust you to share this site with others. It's important that we need to be witnesses of the word of Yahuwah. And this site is an amazing site for you to share. If you don't have the link, I'm just sharing it in the chat. So please do your part. Be a witness of the word. Be a witness of Yahuwah. Share this site, because this is really important. So, and for those of you that are not new, welcome back once again. It's very nice to see you, at least in the chat, to see that many people connected. I see, wow, 129 of you joining us today. And that's an amazing blessing to me, to you, to be able to connect each other. We are in different places of the world, but I have been telling you this in the past. I feel you here. I feel you here in my heart. I feel you very close to me. And this is something that only Yahuwah can do. And if we are feeling this, it's because we are united in one Ruach, in one spirit. And then this is something that we need to remember always, is that if we are children of Elohim, and we are, the Ruach of Elohim is within us. And just a testimony of that is the feeling, is the love that we feel for one another, is the love that we feel in this moment, feeling that we are very close to each other no matter the distance. So that's the Ruach. And through the Ruach and through Yahushua Mashiach, we are echad in our Father. So, we don't have Parsha in 60 seconds. So we are gonna start like we have been doing in the previous broadcast. I'm gonna share with you a song, and I have to be honest before that with you. I was reading the book of Yahushua or Joshua the other day, but I didn't have the time to study, to prepare this Virtual House Church. And I was doing it. I don't know. I started 1.5 hours ago. Started to take my notes to feel what Abba was giving to me, and I had a very special moment when I was studying, feeling His presence within me. And he downloaded a lot of information, some stuff that I was able to discuss with my wife yesterday, even this morning. And but also he pointed out a few other topics that I want to share with you. But it was so much information, I didn't have the time to write everything down. Even what I was delayed and to start the broadcast, because I was taking notes. I was 2 minutes before the time and still taking notes. But this is just to share with you what the Ruach and what Abba is doing. And because of his love, and sometimes we don't have all the time, but he's so amazing that even in short time, he's giving us so much information and he is teaching. Something that maybe I haven't mentioned before, and it's always my prayer, and I invite you to pray in the same direction. I always ask Abba for him to teach me directly. I don't want to rely on the people, no matter that I always hear from brothers and sisters, because it's important to hear and to listen what Abba is revealing to others, because we are just one body, we're just one big family, and we are the different parts of the body and with different functions, and so Abba is using us in different ways. So we always need to be attentive to what Yahuwah is revealing to others. But we need to have always in our prayers asking Yahuwah for him to teach us directly. And that has been always my prayer. Every time that I read the scripture, I ask Abba, please teach me. Please give me of your wisdom. Please reveal me your truth. Because we need to rely only on him, because at the right time, he is going to be teaching us and opening our eyes, opening our understanding, our ears, in order to see the truth. And he has been doing so marvelous things with us all these years. Is that time to time we need to look back, not to go back, because we never need to go back. We need to go forward to our inheritance, to the kingdom of Yahuwah. But as is written in Jeremiah, in Yirmiyahu, sometimes we need to stand up on the way, and we need to look around, and we need to look back. And why is that? Because when we do that, we are going to be able to understand what Yahuwah has been doing with all of us. He woke us up to his truth when we were in the middle of darkness. And I'm feeling his presence now, and I know that you are feeling it as well. We were totally lost in this world. Most probably, most of us were coming from Christianity. Already, my story, that I was a pastor kid. I grew up in a church until when I was almost 30 years old. And, I praise Yahuwah that he put me in a family with my parents, that they instructed me on the way of Yahuwah. And I will praise him and always for that. But even though that I was in Christianity, I learned the path of Yahuwah. It was part of a religion that I was much closer to others. Maybe this is also your story, but I was lost anyway. And Yahuwah, in his faithfulness, in his love, and in his loving commitment to Abraham, to Yitzhak, to Yaakov, and especially to his son Yahushua HaMashiach, he started to wake me up. He started to wake us up to his truth. And every time that we stop for a bit and we look back and we see everything that Yahuwah has been doing for us, we need to smile, we need to praise Him, and we need to worship Him. Because when we see everything He has been doing through us, no matter the difficulties we have been going through, no matter the painful situations we have faced in our lives, we always are able to see His hand working on us. You know, just the fact that He opened our eyes to His truth is something to be humbled, amazed, and happy, have the joy of Yahuwah, because He did it for us. And if He did it for us, every time that we look back, is the moment we need to realize that He did it because He has a purpose for us, because He chooses us in order to be His people. And something that is been in my heart in the last few days, and I will share more about this in the points that I will share with you today, is that we can never forget everything that Yahuwah has been building up with us. We can never forget the foundation that Yahuwah has built, because He has done it. It wasn't us, it was Him. Through different people, and we have been remembering Rob in these last few days, because Yahuwah used him in so wonderful and powerful way to reveal through him several truths of His word. And you know, it was Yahuwah using him, like many others, in order to build this foundation. And you know, when we see what's going on in the world today, we can understand and we can realize what was the purpose of Yahuwah of doing that. And it's so amazing when we realize that He did it with the proper time. Because throughout all these years, He has building that foundation in order for us to be prepared for the time that we are living. And we can never forget the foundation. That foundation is the most important thing that Yahuwah has been doing for us. And you know, I completely sure, there's no doubt in my heart, that from that foundation, Yahuwah is already building up even more. Because the time that are coming to the world are going to be even more difficult and more difficult to bear in different aspects. And we have been talking about this in this virtual heart church. I have been sharing with you some things. Even I shared with you this prophecy update the other day, that is so amazing to see what Yahuwah is doing in these times. And if He already was preparing us, building that foundation of the truth of His word, of the truth of the Torah of Yahuwah, and now He's starting to build on top of that even more, because He decided for you and me to be in these times, to be His witnesses, having this foundation, having His truth in our heart. And we cannot depart, not always, not never, from this truth, because it was Him working within us and it's Him working through us. So this has been in my heart for so many days, and is for something. You know, what's coming to the world is going to be difficult, and the only thing that we can do is to remain holding fast and standing up in the rock of our salvation. So, brothers and sisters, I think we have been learning so much about Torah, and we need to continue learning about Torah. It needs to be something that we do in our day-to-day, especially now. And the idea to continue in the next book is just to see how Yahuwah was working with our forefathers, how He was working with His servants in the past, in order to see an example to all of us in these days. In order to have this example connecting to everything we have been learning throughout these years. So let the Ruach speak today. Let the Ruach guide us always, not only today. And when I say that the Ruach speak today, I'm not saying that only on everything that I'm going to share with you today. Is that the Ruach speak to your heart, because you are able to feel in your heart, in your mind, when you're receiving something from Yahuwah. And if you see, and you think sometimes, but I am not able to listen, I'm not able to hear His word. You know, you are not alone in this. It's happening to all of us more the time. You know, I can tell you multiple experience that sometimes I feel that I'm alone and I cannot able to hear His voice. But it will come the time when you are getting closer and closer to Him. Remember, this is a relationship we need to build up with Yahuwah. We're getting closer and closer. You will start understanding and listening to His voice, understanding when He's talking to you. You will feel it. You will feel it here inside you. So let's move on. You see? See, I was telling you. I don't know what's going on today. There are so many technical difficulties going on that I was telling you when I was on mute. Is that you saw some of the hiccup in the first is the Aaronic blessing, then the screen was white, and then when we were listening to the song, my camera failed. The battery was totally out. I don't know what happened, and I needed to rush in order to change to a second camera I have in order to be back in this screen. And then now I was mute. I don't know. We're going to pray. We're going to pray that nothing will distract us from the word of Yahuwah. Any distraction is nothing compared to the word of Yahuwah and what He's doing with us and what He wants to deliver today. So as we have been doing in the last few weeks, I will invite you to raise up, to lift up your hands to heaven, and we will pray to Yahuwah in this moment. Yahuwah Eloheinu, we give all praise to you, and we honor you. We honor your name, and we praise you in this day. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be gathered in this Shabbat once again. No matter the distance, no matter that we are in different places of the world that you have created, you are giving us the opportunity to be in this place in order to study your word, in order to praise you, Abba. We know that you are the Elohim, the only one Elohim, the creator of the heaven and the earth. And we want to give thanks to you in this moment, because you took our hands and you directed us to your path, to your truth. And we want to honor you by giving to you our heart in obedience, in love, in truth. We are coming with a humble heart to you in this moment. We ask you, Abba, that you can be with us, that your presence and your Ruach HaKodesh will be with us in today in this virtual house church. I pray to you for everyone in the body that is going through difficulties. I ask you, Abba, that you can be with them to comfort their hearts, that you can open a door in order for them to get out of the difficulties that they're going through. I also ask you, Abba, for those that are sick and going through sickness, that you can go with your hand and heal them. We know that you created us, and we know that you can heal us because you are with us. We ask for those that are brokenhearted, that you can comfort them with your truth and with your shalom. We ask you for Sheila, Abba, that she's going through a new phase in her life, and we know that her heart is not in peace. We ask you, Abba, that you can be with her, that your shalom, Abba, be with her and also with her family. And we ask you, Abba, for us, for all of us, that we are going and living in these times, that you can strengthen us, that you can be with us in these times, that we can believe in you even more than ever, that your truth will be in our hearts. We thank you, Abba, for everything that you do for us. And we ask you, Abba, that your Ruach guide us in this time. We ask you this, Abba, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Malkeinu. Amen. So let's start. And let me share the screen with you, because, this is not a long portion. It's a short one. It's just 2 chapters. So we are going to read it together here, and we will see. I will have the chance to share the points, and let's see what Abba wants to talk to us today. So let me share the screen. By the way, Jake is not going to be able to join us today. He told me last week, because he's celebrating Sukkot. If any of you have the chance to see Rob's memorial in the Take to the World TV channel, and Jake was sharing an amazing picture of where he was celebrating Sukkot. And I sent him an email earlier today, because I was so happy to see the footage of everybody, so many people celebrating Sukkot. That is so amazing. I think all of us, we have this desire in our heart to be in a place like that, celebrating with other people face to face the feast of Yahuwah. And we know that we will have the chance in one moment. We need to keep that desire and that fire in our hearts, because when everything will become a reality, that desire will become a reality. We are going to be so happy, and the joy of Yahuwah is going to be so abundant in us that I don't know what's going to happen actually, how we're going to contain our heart within us. And so it's good. It was good to see Jake celebrating Sukkot, and to see so many people, so many brothers and sisters doing it. So he's not going to be with us today. I'm going to run solo like in other broadcasts, but we are not alone. It's Yahuwah is with us, and you are with me here. So let's go. Let's share the screen. And this is the book of Joshua, Yahushua in Hebrew. And we're going to read the verse 1. I'm gonna start stopping time to time just to share what Yahuwah has been teaching me. And I hope this is going to bless you. So let's start in verse 1. It says, "And it came to be, after the death of Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, that Yahuwah spoke to Yahushua ben Nun, son of Nun, the assistant of Moses, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. So now, arise, pass over this Jordan, you and all these people, to the land which I am giving to them, to the children of Israel. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads, I have given you, as I spoke to Moshe." And I'm going to stop here, because, we see here a transition. We see something amazing happening. We see it, and we have been studying throughout the Torah of Yahuwah how Yahuwah used Moses in so powerful way in order to take his people from Egypt, to bring them out of the slavery, and to guide them and leading them through the wilderness in order to bring them in to the promised land. And we were studying the last week that Moses was not able to come into the land because of the story that we already know in the waters of Marah. And but Yahuwah decided to raise up a new servant in order to lead his people. And when I was reading this, and my wife was sharing this point with me this morning, that is something that is a word for all of us in these times. We know that the main servant of Yahuwah was Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahushua was raised up from the dead. And there are multiple similarities in here, what we are seeing in this portion about Moses leading the people, Yahushua leading the people, but also similarities to what is our role. And I see the picture of Yahushua in this case, as the picture we need to have, you and me, in our days. And there are multiple things that basically is a calling from Yahuwah that we need to raise up. We need to raise up, especially in this time of darkness. We need to raise up. We need to bring the light of Yahuwah. We need to show to others the way of Yahuwah, the way to inherit life, to inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah. This was the entire purpose of the calling of Yahuwah to Yahushua ben Nun, son of Nun. Let me read it again. It says in the verse 2, Moshe, my servant, is dead. So now arise. And this is exactly what Yahuwah is telling all of us today. We need to arise. We need to get up. And we need to pass over the Jordan, you and all these people, to the land which I am giving to them, to the children of Israel. So what was the whole purpose of Yahushua ben Nun? Was to lead the people of Israel to the promised land. It was leading the people in the right way. And this is exactly the calling we all of have. In order to show the way of Yahuwah, to become that witness, to become those type of people, in order to lead others in the way of righteousness, in the path of Yahuwah. And when I was reading this, I saw multiple examples, and just to pick some of them and to share with you, we see the example of John the Baptist. That in this case, John the Baptist had a similar role to what Yahushua ben Nun was saying, and not even talked about the similarities. We have been saying this time to time, is that it's not because of somebody wanted to do that. It's because of Yahuwah's purpose that he shows a person called Yahushua in the same name, exactly the same name of our Savior. And we know that Yahushua HaMashiach is the one leading us in the way. That's why we need to follow his step. Because by following his steps, we are going to go and we're going to get in to the kingdom of Yahuwah, because he is the door, he is the way, and he is the truth. But, no matter that Yahushua is the main picture and the main person that we need to follow, throughout the scripture, we see examples of servants of Yahuwah being used by Yahuwah in the same purpose, in order to lead the people in the right path, in the right way. And John the Baptist was a similar figure, a similar servant, serving the similar purpose. He rose up as a witness in order to start leading the people into repentance, into teshuvah in Hebrew, in order to come back to Yahuwah and his ways. So let me share with you a passage that we can see this in the book of Matthew, Yahu, chapter 3, verse 1 to 3. And it says the following: And in those days, Yahuhanan, or John the Inverser, came proclaiming the wilderness of Yehuda, and saying, Repent, for the reign of the heavens has come near. He was bringing a message of repentance. And not only a message of repentance, he was bringing the good news of the kingdom of Yahuwah. And it says in the verse 3, For this is he who was spoken of by the prophet Yeshayahu, this is Isaiah, saying, A voice of one crying in the wilderness, Prepare the way of Yahuwah, make his path straight. So we see Yahushua ben Nun, the son of Nun, Joshua, in this passage, in this portion, being chosen by Yahuwah in order to lead his people, in order to show them the way. And we see the example here of John the Baptist being a witness A witness in order to show the people the way of Yahuwah, in order to call them to repentance. So what's the point that I saw here and what I felt in my heart that I want to share? If Yahuwah did this with John the Baptist, to be a witness in a world in darkness, what is our calling for you and me today? We have been called to be witnesses again as well. And it's not my words, it's the words of Yahushua HaMashiach. And let me read this to you. And let's go to the book of John, Yahuchanan in Hebrew, chapter 17, verse 17 to 19. The Messiah, the Mashiach, said the following in the last night with the disciples. Now they have come in the verse 7. Sorry, in the 17. Set them apart in your truth. Your word is truth. As you send me into the world, I also send them into the world. And for them I set myself apart, so that they too might be set apart in truth. These amazing words of Yahushua, because, you know, he was saying that he's sending us to the world. In the same way that Yahushua, Joshua ben Nun, was chosen by Yahuwah to send him to the world. They were going to the promised land. You know, the work that Yahuwah put in the heart of Moses in order to bring his people to the promised land was not completed at the border of the Jordan. They needed to cross the Jordan. They needed to conquer the land. They needed to remove the 7 nations from the land in order to have the promises of Yahuwah. And so, in a figure of speech, somehow, Joshua ben Nun was chosen by Yahuwah in order to send him to the world, in order to send him in the midst of the enemies of Yahuwah. The same thing with John the Baptist. He was sent to the world in order to be a light into the darkness, in order to be a witness. So the same thing we see here with Yahushua HaMashiach, saying to the Father, Father, I also send them into the world. So, you know, and this is something that was speaking so much to my heart, because no matter that we enjoy having this virtual gathering here in the Virtual House Church that is so much needed. You know, I every time that I'm longing to have the Virtual House Church, I need to prepare the technical aspects. I need to study the word of Yahuwah in order to have something to share with you. But the only fact to have this gathering is something that we all need in order to be in just one mind, studying the word of Yahuwah. But our calling is more than that. Our calling is more than studying the word. It's more than gathering ourselves. Our calling is to raise up in the same way that Joshua ben Nun was instructed by Yahweh in order to raise up, to be a witness, because Yahushua sent us to the world to be a witness. In the same way that John the Baptist was one that was preparing the way of Yahuwah, was preparing everything for Yahushua to appear and start his ministry. We are having the same purpose. Sometimes we are so comfortable in our seat. I'm here in a seat with my screens in front of me, talking to you here in front of the camera. But this is not all. This is not everything that Yahuwah has been intended for us to study His word, to build this foundation. Now that we have built this foundation, now we have the truth of Yahuwah. He's reminding us that His calling for all of us is to go into the world, be a witness, not only to show in order to show the way. It's also, and this is so important and so powerful when I saw it, is to act in the same way and in the same purpose of John the Baptist. John the Baptist prepared the way of Yahushua in the first coming. We need to prepare the way for the second coming of Yahushua HaMashiach. He has chosen us in order to be his witnesses in this time of trouble and in this time of darkness. With what purpose? To show the way of Yahuwah, but also to prepare the way of his coming back. So this is something that we need to remember always. It's not only to study, not only to be gathered together. We have a calling, and if we are children of Yahuwah, and if we are disciples of Mashiach, we need to go into the world in order to prepare the way of Yahuwah and the coming of Yahushua HaMashiach, that every time that is passing is even more closer and closer. So we can think, and this is something that most probably went through the mind of Joshua ben Nun as well. You know, they were so afraid in the first and second generation somehow as well, that there was a land of giants and so on. And most probably he was afraid that I'm going and you are sending me to the world, and also you are sending me to the war to have this big battle in order to conquer the land. Most probably he was afraid. So it's so normal that if Yahushua is calling us to go into the world in order to be his witnesses, to prepare his way, especially with everything that's happening in the world and also that much hate that's happening. People are so much rejecting the word of Yahuwah and the truth of his word that we can be afraid as well. And I'm not telling you that you need to go to the street and start preaching the people and so on. No, you will know in your heart what Yahuwah has prepared for you. You will know in your heart what Yahuwah is guiding you and how you need to be a witness. You know, we are different parts of the body. Not all of us are being used in the same way. So you will know in your heart how Yahuwah wants to use you. And even though that you are afraid, in the same way that maybe Joshua ben Nun was afraid, we know that we are not alone. And I found a few words of Yahushua when he was sending the disciple to the world. That is something that needs to comfort us. And let me share it with you, and this is in the book of Matthew. This is Matthew Yahu in Hebrew, chapter 10, verse 16 to 20. This is our calling, you know, to be witnesses. We need to study and we need to build up the truth of Yahuwah. We don't know everything. This is a way, you know, we need to walk the way. We will know everything, you know, when the day is going to be perfect, as in Proverbs says. And that day is going to be in his kingdom. He is going to reveal to us everything. So day by day, we need to keep studying and building up ourselves in the truth of Yahuwah. But in parallel, we have been called by Yahuwah in order to be those witnesses. And let's read what it says in the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 16 to 20. It says the following. See, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. You know, this is so relevant to what we are living in our days. You know, exactly this is what we are living. We are sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore, be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. But beware of men, for they shall deliver you up to Sanhedrins and flog you in their congregations. And you shall be brought before governors and sovereigns for my sake, as a witness to them and to the nations. But when they deliver you up, do not worry about how or what you should speak, for it shall be given to you in that hour what you shall speak. For it is not you who speak, but the Ruach, the Spirit of your Father speaking in you. So, this is something that should comfort our hearts. We have been called from Abba to be the witnesses of Mashiach, to prepare his way. We are going to go through difficulties, persecution, as what we are living in our days. But we cannot be afraid because Yahuwah is beside us, because Yahuwah will give us the word, and it's the Ruach, the one that will speak through us. So, I took time here, but in just this small passage, starting in the book of Joshua, I see so much truth, and I see so much of what we need to do to raise up and to be the witnesses of Yahushua. So let's continue reading. It says in the verse 4, from the wilderness and this Lebanon, even as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites or Hittites, and to the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, is your border. No man is going to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I am with you. I do not fail you nor forsake you. And this is, the way that I finishing this part, this verse 5, is so powerful that as Yahuwah was with Moses, he's going to be with us. With Joshua in this case, in the way that Yahuwah was with Yahushua HaMashiach, he is going to be with us. So we have been chosen by Yahuwah. And something that we were discussing yesterday here with my wife, and sometimes she's sharing with me so interesting topic, and then sometimes I'm sharing in Virtual House Church things that she is receiving, and this is one of them, is that why Moses and why Yahuwah decided to choose Yahushua or Joshua ben Nun and not one of Moses' sons. Moses has two sons, Eliezer and Gershon, if I'm not wrong. So why some of them, of these two sons, were not chosen by Yahuwah to continue the work of Moses, their father? I never asked that question, in the past, but it's an important question. Because, if we think logically, it could be so much true that a son should continue the labor, the work, and the legacy of a father. So why we don't see this happening, considering that Moses had two sons? And when we start seeing this, trying to answer the question, we see a pattern in different examples throughout the scriptures about what Yahuwah is looking for. And this is so important, it's so beautiful to see what is in the heart of Yahuwah and why he decided in this case, and we will see other cases, to take a different man, not to take the sons of Moses. So, just to start with, we see a similar situation happening in the life of two other servants of Yahuwah. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 1. Let's see where we have it. It's chapter 2, 1 Samuel chapter 2, and you can see it in the screen. So we're going to talk about the priest here. It's a Kohen. His name is Eli. And you know the story about Anna and Eli and Samuel. And also Eli had two sons. And we can think that, okay, after Eli was passing away, that his sons was going to take over of the role. But we see a pattern here, and with this, what I'm going to share, I don't want to imply that the sons of Moses were in the same situation. Not at all. We don't know. But by understanding these two examples, we will see a marvelous pattern on what Yahuwah is looking for. So let's read. So it says the verse 12. And the sons of Eli were sons of Belial. They did not know Yahuwah. Let me repeat this last statement. They did not know Yahuwah. This is so important, an aspect that those two sons of Eli didn't know Yahuwah. So this is something just to start opening our understanding. Let's jump to the verse 17. From the 17 and 18, it says, and the sin of the young men, if you read this in context, is talking about the two sons of Eli. And the sin of the young men was very great before Yahuwah, for the men despised the offering of Yahuwah. But Shmuel, this is Samuel, was attending before Yahuwah, a youth wearing a linen shoulder garment. So we see here the two sons of Eli, a Kohen, and not only a Kohen, a Shofet, a judge, a priest and a judge, with two sons that we could understand that those two sons supposed to take the role after his death. But also we see the figure of Samuel attending before Yahuwah. You know, he was beside Eli, knowing Yahuwah, following his truth, learning his truth, following his path. So let's continue. Let's go back to the verse 11. Chapter 3, verse 11. I just missed the passage. But anyway, what's the important point? What happened is that Yahuwah selected Samuel in order to be his prophet. Yahuwah, you know, because of the sin of the sons of Eli, and you know the story, that Yahuwah decided that he's going to destroy the house of Eli. And this is an important story that if we have the time in any moment, we will study this. That he decided to put somebody else. He decided to put Samuel in order to serve Yahuwah. And you can see in the verse 1 of the chapter 3, and the young Samuel was serving Yahuwah before Eli. And the word of Yahuwah was read in those days, no vision breaking forth. And actually, I think here we see in the last verse, in the verse 21, and Yahuwah continued to appear in Shiloh because Yahuwah revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of Yahuwah. So, you know, in the similar way that we see happening to Eli, we see it to Moses, that his son was not selected to continue the work. The same thing we see, the pattern we see here in Eli, exactly the same thing, but Yahuwah decided and was chosen somebody else. You know, and there is this is interesting, a new story, and it was exactly with Samuel, happening exactly the same. Let's go to chapter 8 of 1 Samuel. And it says the following, starting in the verse 1 to 6. It says, and it came to be when Samuel was old that he made his sons rulers, or shofetim, judges, over Israel. And the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second, Abijah, rulers in Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways, and turned aside after own gain, and took bribes and twisted right ruling. And all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah and said to him, Look, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a sovereign to rule us like all the nations. But the word was evil in the eyes of Samuel when they said, Give us a sovereign to rule us. So Samuel prayed to Yahuwah. So we see a similar situation happening. In this case, Samuel wanted to position his sons to rule Israel, to continue his work. But that was not the intention of Yahuwah. In this case, because the sons of Samuel were not following the ways of Yahuwah. And because if we read this entire story, we know that the purpose of Yahuwah was something different. And even is more profound. What was the purpose of Yahuwah? Is in order to establish his king and his coming king. That is Yahushua HaMashiach. So, like always, I wanted to bring these examples to you. Is that like Moses, we see other patterns here. Yahuwah decided to continue the work of a servant, not through his sons, but somebody else. But why Yahuwah decided something like that? And when we understand who Joshua ben Nun was, we can see some important aspects that we can correlate to our own lives. And let me just point out 4 specific things that we see in the life of Joshua ben Nun. So we know that Joshua ben Nun was the assistant of Moses. And what it means to be an assistant. And you can see this throughout the entire Torah, from the book of Shemot, Exodus, to Devarim, Deuteronomy. He was beside Moses. He was always with him. We can say somehow that Joshua was a disciple. Joshua was a disciple of Moses, following the step of Moses, going to any place that Moses was going, following what Moses was saying. He was the attendant. So this is giving us an important picture that Yahuwah is looking into the heart, is looking into our convictions, is looking into what we want to do and what is the desire in our heart. If the desire of our heart is to follow the way of Yahuwah, this is the most important thing. And when we go to the second aspect, we see that basically Joshua ben Nun remained in the presence of Yahuwah. He was with Moses in the presence of Yahuwah. Let me share 2 passages that we can see this clearly. Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 24, verse 13 and 14. And let me read it starting in the verse 9. It says, And Moshe went up, also Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. They went up to Mount Sinai. And they saw the Elohim of Israel, and under his feet, like a paved work of sapphire stone, like the heavens for brightness. Yet he did not stretch out his hand against the chief of the children of Israel. And they saw Elohim, and they ate and drank. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Come up to me on the mountain, and be there, while I give you tablets of stone, and the Torah and the command which I have written to teach them. And listen to this in the verse 13 and 14. And Moses rose with his assistant, Yahushua. And Moshe went up to the mountain of Elohim. And he said to the elders, Wait here for us until we come back to you. And see, Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has matters, let him go to them. I don't know what happened with Joshua ben Nun, If he was with Moses in the presence of Yahuwah, it's not clear in the scripture. But what we see here is that when Moses received the commandment of Yahuwah to go up in order to receive the Torah, it says that he arose with his assistant Yahushua. And it says in the 14, he was telling and instructing the elders, wait here for us until we come back to you. So Joshua was going with Moses to top of the mountain. I don't know if he was in the top of the mountain with Moses, but what we know here is that Joshua was closer than the elders. So the heart of Joshua ben Nun was to be close to the presence of Yahuwah. And there is another example that we see here in order to confirm what I'm saying. And this is in the book of, I think it's Shemot as well. Chapter 33, verse 11. Yes, it's this one. And it says, thus Yahuwah spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, and he would return to the camp. And listen, but his servant, Joshua ben Nun, Yahushua ben Nun, a young man, did not leave the tent, the tabernacle. So, can you see what was in the heart of Joshua ben Nun? He wanted to be always in the presence of Yahuwah. He was in the presence of Yahuwah in the mountain Sinai. He didn't want to leave the tabernacle of Yahuwah. That shows us the desire and what was in his heart. And he's speaking to us what should be in our heart as well, in order to be chosen by Yahuwah. So the third aspect is that the fear and the love of Yahuwah was in his heart as well, in the heart of Joshua ben Nun. And we can see this clearly when we were studying about the 12 spies that went to the land of Canaan, and they came back with a very bad report. And we know that Joshua ben Nun and Caleb were part of the spies. And they were the only two that came back with a good word. And this is so relevant even to the portion that we're studying today. Is that, when the people wanted to go back to Egypt, to Mizraim, he was, together with Caleb, one of the only ones that they feared Yahuwah. Let's read it once again. This is in the book of Bemidbar, Numbers, chapter 14, verse 6 to 9. And it says the following, and Joshua, Yahushua ben Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their garments. When all the people was saying, let's go back to Egypt because we don't want to die. When they listened and heard that, they tore their garments. And they spoke, it says in the verse 7, to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land we passed through to spy it out is an exceedingly good land. If Yahuwah has delighted in us, then he shall bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which is flowing with milk and honey. And listen to this, only do not rebel against Yahuwah, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their defense has turned away from them, and Yahuwah is with us. Do not fear them. So we see what was in the heart of Joshua ben Nun was the fear of Yahuwah, and not only the fear of Yahuwah, the conviction that Yahuwah was with him, that if Yahuwah was sending them to the world in order to have the battle against the forces of the darkness, they knew that Yahuwah was going to give them the win. They were going to win the battle because Yahuwah was with them. So this is something that Yahuwah is looking into us, in our heart, to be on the same mind. That's why we see in this pattern, why Yahuwah chose Yahushua and not the sons of Moses, because he was looking for a person with the heart of Moses, with the heart of Elohim. And how we can see this? That the fourth aspect is to have the heart of the people of Elohim. the sheep. His sheep. And this, we don't see it in the heart of Joshua directly. But with everything that I have been sharing with you, it's easily to see that it was in his heart as well, because he was next to Moses all the time. This is in the words of Moses. This is what was in the heart of Moses. Let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 27, verse 15 to 23. And it says the following. And this was in the last days of Moses before he passed away. It says, and Moses spoke to Yahuwah, saying, let Yahuwah, listen this, let Yahuwah, the Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation, who goes out before them and comes in before them, who leads them out and brings them in. Listen, so that the congregation of Yahuwah be not like sheep without a shepherd. You see what was in the heart of Yahuwah, of Moses? In his heart was the people of Yahuwah. In his heart was the purpose and the plan of Yahuwah for his people, the covenant. He was afraid and he was concerned of the people of Yahuwah, not to have a shepherd, to be lost sheep. And he was asking for somebody to lead them, to appoint a man. This is so important when we think in Yahushua HaMashiach. When he was sending us to the world, how we can support each other, in this path that sometimes is difficult. The same that was in the heart of Moses was in the heart of Joshua ben Nun. The same was in the heart of Yahushua HaMashiach. And the same should be in your heart and on my heart. We see that when Yahuwah decided to take Joshua ben Nun in this role, and we see it in this portion that we are reading, he didn't leave him alone. He was beside him in the same way that he was beside Moses. He will be with us. He will not leave us alone. If we have the same heart, if we have the same characteristics, you want to say, like Joshua ben Nun, in order to be chosen. And we see this, and actually let's continue reading. Let's read it completely, this, because it's important what is written until the verse 23. So, and Yahuwah said to Moses, Moshe, take Yahushua ben Nun with you. And this is so beautiful, because after the man of Yahuwah was praying for Yahuwah for the sheep, his people, for his people, to assign, to appoint a man. In this moment, Yahuwah decided to appoint Joshua ben Nun, because he saw the heart of Joshua ben Nun. That's why the instruction in the verse 18, and Yahuwah said to Moses, take Yahushua ben Nun with you, a man in whom is the Spirit, and you shall lay your hand on him, and shall set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him command before their eyes, and shall put some of your esteem upon him, so that all the congregation of the children of Israel obey him. And this is so important, because Yahuwah was making a promise that he was going to take some of the esteem of Moses in order to put in Joshua ben Nun. And this is also a pattern that we see in different places, but I will give you more details on this just in a minute. Let's continue reading. And he is to stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall inquire before Yahuwah for him by the right ruling of the Urim. At his word they go out, and his word they come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, all the congregation. And Moses did as Yahuwah commanded him, and took Yahushua and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation. And it says, and laid his hands on him, and commissioned him, as Yahuwah commanded by the hand of Moses. When we go to the book of Hebrews, book of Ivrit in Hebrew, we see that one of the fundamentals, instructions, and belief is the laying on of hands. And I think I shared this with you a few weeks ago, that I was feeling that this is something that we have lost on time. And this is so important if you have the chance to be with other people, with the brothers and sisters, that you need to put your hands on them, because something happens. And if you see unbelievers that they have the heart of Yahuwah, they are coming closer, put your hands on them, because something happens. And we see here that part of the passing the mantle is that Moses laid his hand on Joshua ben Nun. And this is so an amazing picture, because that was the way that Yahuwah was going to be with Joshua ben Nun. Let's go to the book of Devarim. When we have a similar story, it's exactly the same, but we have more details. And we were reading this last week. To the chapter 34 of the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 9. And it says the following: And Joshua, Yahushua ben Nun, was filled with the Spirit, with the Ruach of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands on him. And the children of Israel listened to him and did as Yahuwah had commanded Moses. So Yahushua ben Nun, he had a different spirit within him, it says in another verse in Torah. But with the only fact that Moses was laying his hands on him, it says here that he, Joshua ben Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom. What is the spirit of wisdom? We see the answer in the book of Isaiah. And this is an amazing picture to us all in these days. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 2 to 5. And we know that this chapter is talking about Mashiach. It's talking about Yahushua HaMashiach. It's a prophetic passage. And we see here what is the Ruach of wisdom. Let's read from the verse 2 to verse 5. The Spirit, the Ruach of Yahuwah, shall rest upon him. The Ruach, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding. The Ruach, the Spirit of counsel and might. The Ruach, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Yahuwah. And shall make him breathe in the fear of Yahuwah. And he shall not judge by the sight of his eyes, nor decide by the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and shall decide with straightness for the meek ones of the earth, and shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and slay the wrong with the breath of his lips. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and trustworthiness the girdle of his waist. So the Ruach of wisdom is the Ruach of Yahuwah. And we see the description of those that have in the Ruach of Yahuwah, the Ruach HaKodesh. We see the description of our Mashiach. And there's no doubt in my heart, especially with what we are going to share with you now, is that the same Spirit was in him. He received that Spirit. He received the fullness of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of wisdom, when Moses was laying his hand on him. And in this way, he was prepared in order to take the post, in order to take the role and the purpose that Yahuwah was deciding for him. And, we're talking about the case of Eli and the case of Samuel, that their sons were not taking the post. They were not chosen by Yahuwah in order to take that role, because Yahuwah had a different purpose. And what was that purpose? And this is so important because everything is connected in the scripture. That's the beauty of the word of Yahuwah. So let's continue with that story, and then it's gonna reinforce what we're studying about, what Yahuwah saw in Joshua ben Nun in order to decide to take him instead of Moses' son. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 10, verse 5 to verse 11. So we know that when Israel, just to understand the context, were asking Samuel to appoint a king over them, that after praying and different discussions and situation that happened, that Yahuwah appointed Saul, Shaul in Hebrew, to be the first king over Israel. And what we are going to read here is when Samuel went with the oil and was pouring out the oil in his head in order to anoint him as the king. This is exactly what we are going to read here. So this is Samuel speaking to Saul, Shaul. It says, starting in verse 5, after that, go to the hill of Elohim, where the Philistine watch post is. And it shall be, when you have come there to the city, that you shall meet a group of prophets coming down from the high place with a stringed instrument, and a tambourine, and a flute, and a lyre before them, and they are prophesying. And listen, and the Ruach of Yahuwah, the Spirit of Yahuwah, shall come upon you, and you shall prophesy with them, and be turned into another man. This is so powerful that Yahuwah was choosing Shaul to be the first king of Israel, and part of the process in order to become that king is that he was going to be turned to another man when the Ruach of Yahuwah was going to be on him. And you know, when I was reading this, I just was thinking on us. We have been called by Yahushua HaMashiach in order to become another man, in order to become another person. He was taking us from the darkness of the world. And remember, for some reason I mentioned this at the beginning, that we need to look down and we need to look back and see what Yahuwah has been doing for us, because he decided to take us out of the world in order to bring us into his kingdom, in order to become another person. And if the Ruach of Yahuwah is with us, and there's no doubt that it's with us, we have become that other person. We have turned to be that other person. Let's continue reading because this is so wonderful. And it shall be when these signs come to you, do for yourself as your hand finds to do, for Elohim is with you. And you shall go down before me to Gilgal, and see, I am coming down to you to offer ascending offerings and slaughterings of peace offerings. Wait 7 days till I come to you, then I shall make known to you what you should do. And it came to be, when he had turned his back to go from Shemuel, this is Samuel, that Elohim gave him another heart. And all those signs came on that day. So just being close to the servant of Elohim, Elohim gave him another heart. And they came there to the hill and saw a group of prophets to meet him, and the Ruach of Elohim came upon him, and he prophesied in their midst. And it came to be, all who knew him formerly looked and saw that he prophesied among the prophets. So the people said to each other, what is this that had come upon the son of Kish? Is Shaul also among the prophets? You know, this is so wonderful Yahuwah turning a person to become another person. Yahuwah changing and giving him another heart through the Ruach in order to serve him as he purposed for him. We see the same thing happening with Joshua. And the point that I want to make is that what Yahuwah is looking in order to choose a person. And, we know what happened with Saul, with Shaul. We knew that he departed from the way of Yahuwah. He forgot the truth of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah decided to take another man. This man was David in Hebrew. And what we see in that passage, we see a similar pattern. We see exactly the same happening. Let's go and let's read it together. This is in the same book of Samuel, 1 Samuel, chapter 16. And let's read it together for verse 1 and 14. I will try to speed up because I see the time, and I don't know how I have been talking so much and we have not read even the entire passage and the entire portion. So let's see. But this is the most important thing that I felt in my heart. So I needed to take the time to share it with you because this is important for us in this time. So let's read what happened with David. And it says, yes, Kabila, I will try to hurry up, but not that much. Don't worry. And Yahuwah said to Samuel, "How long are you going to mourn for Shaul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and go. I am sending you to Yishai the Beit Lehemite, and I have seen among his sons a sovereign for myself." So Yahuwah already saw a person that he decided to turn it the new king of Israel. And he was sending in the same way that we have been speaking so much, that he sent Samuel to the world, his world in that moment, in the same way that he was sending Joshua ben Nun to the world, in the same way that Yahushua HaMashiach is sending you and me to the world in order to become his witnesses. And listen to what Samuel answered, and this is important because I already mentioned this a minute ago. Maybe this is what it could be in our heart as well, being afraid. And it says, and Samuel said in the verse 2, "How would I go? How would I go? When Shaul hears it, he shall kill me." And Yahuwah said, "Take a heifer with you and say, I have come to slaughter to Yahuwah." If we are afraid, Yahuwah knows that. If we are afraid, he knows that this is going through our emotions. And we have a mashiach, a Messiah, that he went through same things and even worse things that we have been going through. And he endured until the end. Maybe Mashiach was afraid as well. We don't know. But even in the middle of fear, Yahuwah was with them, with all of them. In the middle of fear, Yahuwah strengthened them in order for them to endure until the end. And Yahuwah was always giving a way out, as we see here in the case of Samuel. He was telling him, do this, don't be afraid. Do this. Do my job. Continue with my instruction. I'm going with you. And this is the same that we need to remember. This is the same that we need to have in our hearts. So Samuel went, he obeyed. This is what we need to do. We need to obey the voice of Yahuwah always and his word. It says, "And you shall invite Yishai to the slaughtering. Then let me show you what to do. And you shall anoint for me the one I say to you. And Samuel did what Yahuwah said, obedience, and went to Bethlehem. This is Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming and said, do you come in peace? You know, this is funny because Samuel was afraid, but also the people of the land were afraid of Samuel. So what was going on here? Everybody was afraid. And, you know, and now the Ruach is giving me this thought now. Today, everybody's afraid of everybody. You know, if we go to somebody that doesn't believe that in the same way that we believe, and with all the fear that is in the world today because of everything that's happening, you know, they don't want to touch, they don't want us to be close to them because they are afraid of us. But also, we are afraid of going to the world. Maybe we have this fear of what's going to happen with us. Maybe we are in fear of losing our jobs. Maybe we are in fear of having broken families. Maybe we are in fear to get sick. Maybe we are in fear to be persecuted. Maybe we are in fear to die. But as we have been studying in the last few weeks, nothing of that is important. You know, when we understand that Yahuwah is with us, when we get to understand that we need to fear Yahuwah with all our hearts, all that fear goes away. When we let Yahuwah be with us, when we let the Ruach Yahuwah come upon us, when we let the Ruach of Yahuwah to guide us. We were reading in the book of Matthew that Yahuwah said we were going through wolves, that many things was going to happen to us. But we don't know to be afraid, and even to be afraid of what we're going to say. Because Yahuwah will speak through us. So let's continue reading this because this story is so beautiful. And he said, in peace, I have come to slaughter to Yahuwah. Set yourselves apart, and you shall come with me to the slaughtering. And he set Yishai and his sons apart, and invited them to the slaughtering. And it came to be, when they came, that he saw Eliab, and thought, this is Samuel. Samuel thought, the anointed of Yahuwah is indeed before him. So Samuel has his own thought, and sometimes this is also happening to us. But our thoughts are not Elohim thoughts. He's looking for something different. And we have been seeing so far what he was looking and seeing in the heart of Joshua ben Nun. What he did with Saul, that he turned Saul in another person. And he gave Saul a new heart. So, you know, he's not looking with the eyes. Let's continue reading because, you know, it's not my words, it's what is written here. But Yahuwah said to Samuel, to Shemuel in Hebrew, do not look at his appearance or at the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For not as man sees, for man looks at the eyes. But listen to this. But Yahuwah looks at the heart. Yahuwah looks at the heart. So we need to ask ourselves, what is in our heart? You know, it is written in Proverbs when we were discussing here at home that we need to look and take care of our heart. Because from the heart is coming, is bringing forth life. I don't remember exactly the passage, but you know what I'm talking about. And when we see this passage, well, we always think physically. It's true, you know, our heart is beating and is sending blood through our bodies in order to keep us alive. But I think this passage is having a more profound meaning. We are going to get eternal life if our heart is right. We need to watch our heart, that our heart is right before Yahuwah, that our heart is the heart of Yahuwah in order to have life. And this is exactly what we see in all these cases, because Yahuwah looks at the heart. So ask yourself, is your heart right before Yahuwah? Is your heart ready to follow Yahuwah? It's an important thing, an important question that we need to ask ourselves every day. Let's continue reading through the verse 14. Then Yishai called Abinadab and made him pass before Shemuel, and he said, neither has Yahuwah chosen this one. Next Yishai made Shammah pass by, and he said, neither has Yahuwah chosen this one. And Yishai made 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. And Samuel said to Yishai, Yahuwah has not chosen this. And Samuel said to Yishai, are these all the young men? And he said, there remains yet the youngest. And see, he is tending the sheep. You remember what was in the heart of Moses? The heart of Moses was in the people of Yahuwah, in the sheep. And we see here David tending the sheep. I think it is a so beautiful picture. It was on the heart of David. And Samuel said to Yishai, send and bring him, for we do not turn round till he comes here. And he sent and brought him in. And he was ruddy, with bright eyes and handsome. And Yahuwah said, arise, anoint him, for this is the one. And Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brothers. And listen to this. And the Ruach of Yahuwah came upon David from that day and onwards. And Samuel arose and went to Ramah. So, in order to be prepared, take the role of witnesses in order to be prepared to that role of preparing the way of Yahushua, in order to be prepared to go to the world. The Ruach of Yahuwah needs to be in us if we are chosen by Yahuwah. And we see, you know, what happened with Saul. And the Ruach of Yahuwah in the verse 14 turned aside from Saul, and an evil spirit from Yahuwah troubled him. And why was that? Because Saul was not right in the path of Yahuwah, because he turned left or right from the path of Yahuwah. He was not following the path of righteousness. So we see here the connection, that the two things need to work together. If we're following the path of Yahuwah and the truth of his word, we have been chosen by Yahuwah. The Ruach of Yahuwah will be with us. He's looking for worshippers that are worshiping the Father in Ruach, Spirit, and in truth. We need to worship Yahuwah in spirit and in truth. If we're in the truth of Yahuwah, and we know that his word is the truth, if we're in the written word of Yahuwah, in the truth of his word, the Ruach will be with us, and we will serve Abba in spirit and in truth. This is something that we need to remember always. That if Yahuwah has chosen us, it's because we need to be that witnesses, and the Ruach will be with us. And we need to let the Ruach guide us. And He will guide us according to the truth of Yahuwah, according to the truth of His word. You know, and there is no doubt that in the same way that He was chosen Joshua, He was chosen Shaul when he was right, and He was chosen David, and not taking the bloodline in this case of the servant of Yahuwah, is because Yahuwah saw their hearts, that their heart was right in His eyes, that they had the fear of Him in His heart, that they were obedient to Yahuwah, that they were loving Yahuwah with all their hearts. And we know that we have been chosen by Yahuwah. And there are two amazing passages that I want to share with you, and you know this by heart. In 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a set-apart nation, a people for a possession, that you should proclaim the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light. You and me have been chosen by Yahuwah. He chose you and me because He saw our heart and He saw potential in our hearts. Because in the same way that He was doing with the Shaul, He has been turning us in another person. And this is so beautiful because we know that we are part of the new covenant. And it is written, the word of Yahuwah in the book of Ezekiel, that He will give us a different spirit. He will give us His spirit. And He will turn our heart of stone. And He will give us a heart of flesh in order to follow His laws, in order to follow His commandments, in order to obey His voice. It's exactly the same we see that happened with Shaul. He gave him a different heart. It's the same thing that we see in David. He saw that David was a person according to his heart. And, you know, Yahushua says something so important about this. In the book of Yahuchanan, John, chapter 15 to verse 16. 16 to 27. It says the following. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, He might give you. Was Him choosing us in order to bear fruit. These words I command you, so that you love one another. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, for that reason the world hates you. Remember the word that I said to you. A servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they shall persecute you too. If they had guarded my word, they would guard yours too. But all these they shall do to you because of my name, because they do not know Him who sent me. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin. But now they have no excuse for their sin. He who hates me hates my Father as well. If I did not do among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. But now they have both seen and have hated both me and my Father. But that the word might be filled, which was written in their Torah, they hated me without cause. And listen, and when the Helper comes, whom I shall send to you from the Father, the Spirit of the truth, who comes from the Father, he shall bear witness of me. But you also bear witness because you have been with me from the beginning. Yahuwah is with us. The Ruach of Elohim is with us. You know what is written in the chapter 1 of the book of Acts, in the verse 11. It says, but you shall receive power when the set-apart Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, has come upon you. And you shall be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Yehudah and Shomeron and on the end of the earth. If we have been chosen by Yahuwah, the Ruach of Yahuwah is with us. We don't need to be afraid. We need to let the Ruach guide us. We need to stay in the truth, in the rock of salvation, in the truth that Yahuwah has been building on us. It's not because of our desire. It was in the desire of Yahuwah that He chosen us. And He has built in on us the truth of His word. And we have the Ruach. If we let the Ruach to work in us, we will see a marvelous thing. You know, just to finish this thought, let's remember this. And you know, I want to reinforce this. The Torah of Yahuwah, the truth of Yahuwah is so important. And we see here in everything that I have been sharing with you why Yahuwah chose Joshua and Nun, because of his heart for him. In the book of Psalms, Tehillim, chapter 119, verse 1, it says, blessed are the perfect in the way, who walk in the Torah of Yahuwah. Let's make sure that if we were chosen by Yahuwah, that we are blessed and we are perfect in the way, that we are walking in the Torah of Yahuwah, that we are desiring for the power of the Ruach HaKodesh to be on us in order to be that people that He shows, walking in perfection in the walk and in the Torah of Yahuwah. You know, something that I didn't share them out here. Something that I didn't share last week, and you know, I will continue speaking. I know that we haven't already 2 hours here, but I feel compelled to share with you the rest. So if you have patience with me, stay here. It's going to be a longer virtual house church today. You know, as we see as we saw in the book of First Peter, that we are a chosen generation, a chosen kingdom. We are priests and kings. And you know, this is something that is being reminded to us even in the book of Revelation. You go to the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 6. It says the following: blessed and set apart is the one having part in the first resurrection. And you know, the one that are going to have part in the first resurrection is not only the people that's going to be resurrected. It's also the people that is going to be transformed in a new body, in a new person, in a new creature. So all of them, and I think all of us are part of them, that are going to take place and going to be part of the first resurrection, is as the following: the second death possesses no authority over this, but they shall be priests of Elohim and of Messiah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So we are going to be priests, Kohanim in Hebrew, and kings, Melachim in Hebrew. Priests and kings, Kohanim be Melachim. You want to learn a new word in Hebrew, Kohanim be-melachim. And last week, that we were studying the blessings, you know, there wasn't a specific blessing. And I'm going to share this with you because I think it's relevant to everything that we have been studying so far in this portion of the book of Joshua that we we have just read the 5 verses so far. Amazing. Is that there was a blessing for the Kohanim. There was a blessing for Levi or Levi. So let's go and read it. This is in the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 33, verse 8 to 11. And keep in mind that we have been called to be priests. So when we're reading this blessing to Levi or Levi, think on us that we have been called to be priests. So think on this blessing also becoming a blessing for us, and the words that are written in this blessing to be for us as well. So it says, and of Levi he said, your Tumim and your Urim belong to your lovingly committed one, whom you tried at Massah, with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah, who said of his father and mother, listen this, because it's important, who said of his father and mother, I have not seen them, and he did not acknowledge his brothers, or know his own children, for they have guarded your word and watched over your covenant. They teach your right rulings to Yaakov, and your Torah to Israel. They put incense before you and complete ascending offering on your slaughter place. O Yahuwah, bless his strength and accept the work of his hands. Smite the loins of those who rise against him, and of those who hate him, and they rise no more. You know, when we think in these words and when we think that we are also priests, there are so much correlations with what was said to Levi, to what is relevant to us. And especially, you know, what is written in the verse 9. Who said of his father and mother, I have not seen them, and he did not acknowledge his brothers, or know his own children, for they have guarded your word and watched over your covenant. The most important thing in our life needs to be Yahuwah Elohim. You know, it doesn't say here that he didn't love his brothers or mother. It says that he guarded the word of Yahuwah and watched over the covenant of Yahuwah. And, you know, Yahushua said something very similar. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 34 and 37. Do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to bring division, a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies are those of his own household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And the same, you know, we see in the chapter 19, verse 28 to 30. It says, and Yahushua said to them, truly I say to you, when the son of Adam, the Ben Adam, sits on the throne of his kingdom, you who have followed me in the rebirth shall also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. but many who are first shall be last, and the last first. The same thing that was being part of the blessing of Levi, we see here in the words of Yahushua HaMashiach. He's not calling us to separate us from our earthly mother, father, or brothers. What he's saying to us is that our heart, in the same way that we saw in the heart of Joshua and Nun and Moses, in David, needs to be for Yahuwah. That's the most important thing that we need to have in our heart. And you know, it is written, is what we saw. What needs to be in the heart? Why they decided to not regard father, mother, brothers? Because of a specific reason. And this is the most important message that I got and I want to share with you. Because of this. For they have guarded your word and watched over your covenant. If we are priests and kings, this is what needs to be in our heart. To guard the word of Yahuwah. To guard the covenant of Yahuwah. Let's not forget what we have received throughout these years. You know, I do believe that a great illusion is coming to this world. It is written in the word of Yahuwah. And it is written in the book of Matthew, chapter 24. The following. Let me look for it. You know, when I'm so used to read directly in the word of Yahuwah, in the written, in the physical, not in the screen. But sometimes it's difficult to find it. But you know, it says here in the verse 22, and if those days were not shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the sake of the chosen ones, those days shall be shortened. But it's written, you know, in a verse before, that there are many prophets and many signs will be happening on the world. That even the chosen one can stumble. They can be pushed to stray from the path of Yahuwah. So what I want to say is that a great illusion is coming. That the only way that we can be certain that we're in the right path, and this is the amazing work that Yahuwah has been doing with all of us, is that we rely on this word. This is what Yahuwah has been doing with all of us throughout these years. He has built that foundation of truth in order to understand and not to fall into that delusion, in order to remember, in order to know this word. So keep that in mind. We need to build upon what was already built. So let's continue reading, you know. Let's continue in the following verse. Let's go to Joshua. Chapter 1. Let's start on verse 6. Okay? It says, "Be strong and courageous, for you are to let these people inherit the land, which I swore to their fathers to give them." And before continuing, you know, there are two ways to understand this. You know, if Yahuwah is sending me to the world that is full of giants, and he's telling me that I'm going to be in battle with 7 nations, most probably I'm going to be afraid. So Yahuwah is saying to him, be strong and courageous. in one way, not to be afraid on what he was going to do because of what he was going to face, not to remove this emotion of fear. I think this is one way to understand. But we see that the purpose of Yahuwah telling Joshua ben Nun to be strong and courageous was something even more profound. And it's written, and it's totally related to what I just shared with you, that we need to stay strong in the word, in the truth of Yahuwah. And we see this is profound meaning exactly in the next verses. It says, only be strong and very courageous, to guard, to do according to all the Torah which Moshe, my servant, commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go. Wisdom coming from the word of Yahuwah. Be strong and courageous to stay and remain strong in the rock. No matter that the winds and waves and storm and lightning are coming in our way, we need to remain strong in what Yahuwah has built upon us, His truth. This is exactly what Yahuwah was telling him, to be strong and courageous in His word and in His truth. And exactly in these times that we are living today, that word is coming to us. To be strong and courageous, no matter what's happening in the world, we need to be strong and courageous in His word. And it's so amazing what Yahuwah has been doing with us, to build that confidence, to build that conviction in our heart, in His truth, that we need to hold fast to the truth in order to not to be afraid, in order to remain firm no matter what's going on around us, in order to fulfill our purpose to be witnesses in this world. So it says, do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth, but you should meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid, nor be discouraged, for Yahuwah your Elohim is with you wherever you go. If He has chosen us, Yahuwah will be with us wherever we go. Yahuwah will be with us. Yahuwah will be with us in order to fulfill our purpose. You know, it says in the verse 8, for then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. When that's going to happen? And remember, he was the disciple of Moses. We are the disciples of someone greater than Moses. We are disciples of Mashiach. So if we are disciples from someone greater than Moses, these words are even more important for you and for me. That when we follow and we meditate in the Torah of Yahuwah, in the truth and the foundation He has built upon us, He will make our way prosperous and we are going to act wisely. You know, I like this verse that is in the book of Psalms, Tehillim, chapter 1, verse 1, on what it says, blessed is the man who should not walk in the counsel of the wrong, and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers, but his delight is in the Torah of Yahuwah, and he meditates in his Torah day and night. For he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers of water, that yields its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever he does prospers. The wrong are not so, but are like the chaff which the winds blows away. Therefore the wrong shall not rise in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For Yahuwah knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wrong comes to naught. You know, if we are looking for discernment in this time of troubles, Yahuwah has opened the key for us. And when the Ruach will guide us, when the Ruach will give us of the power of Yahuwah in order for the signs and the healings that will happen be through us, the only way to discern if we're following Yahuwah and His Ruach HaKodesh, not getting trapped in a different spirit, is through this. It's through the Torah of Yahuwah. It's through His Word. Keep that in your mind, in your heart, because we have been called out of the world in order to walk in His truth, to meditate and to delight in His truth, in His Word. And the Ruach will guide us in that truth. You know, we don't need to follow the signs and the wonders. Yahushua said that the signs and the wonders will follow us if we get closer to our. And I think the time is coming that Yahuwah will pour out His Ruach once again. The Ruach is within us. We just need to get closer in order to the Ruach to be manifested through us, in order to empower us to do our job, in order to be the witnesses. Let's continue reading. It says in the verse 10, and Yahushua commanded the officers of the people, saying, pass through the midst of the camp, and command the people, saying, prepare food for yourselves, for within 3 days you are passing over this Jordan, to go in to possess the land, which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you to possess. And you know, just a short stop here. Every time that I read this passage, I remember what is written in the book of Hosea. I think this is the chapter 12. Let's go there. Look for it. Here in the chapter 6. It says, come and let us turn back to Yahuwah, for He has turned, but He does heal us. He has stricken, but He binds us up. After 2 days He shall revive us. On the 3rd day He shall raise us up, so that we live before Him. You know, the number 3 is so repetitive throughout the scripture. And you know, every time that I read this passage in Joshua, that He instructed the officers of the people, saying, pass through the midst of the camp and command the people, saying, prepare food for yourself, for within 3 days you are passing over this Jordan. It's the same 3 days that we have been waiting in order to pass the Jordan again. And I was telling you this a few weeks ago, that I do believe that we are going to cross the Jordan very soon. We are going to inherit that land very soon. And in the same way that we're preparing themselves in order to cross the Jordan, we need to prepare our heart in order to be faithful to Yahuwah with everything that we have been chatting in these 2 hours and 15 minutes so far. Let's continue reading. And Joshua spoke to the Reubenites and to the Gadites and to half the tribe of Manasseh, saying, remember the word which Moshe, servant of Yahuwah, commanded you, saying, Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you rest, and He shall give you this land. Let your wives, your little ones, and your livestock stay in the land which Moses gave you beyond the Jordan. But you shall pass before your brothers in fives, all your brave fighters, and shall help them, until Yahuwah has given your brothers rest as unto you. So shall they also take possession of the land, which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving them. Then you shall return to the land of your possession, and shall possess that which Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, gave you beyond the Jordan toward the rising of the sun. And you know, this is a beautiful picture of what we have been called to be and to behave and to live, is to love one another. Why I'm talking about loving one another in this case? It's very simple. I know that Moses was giving an instruction to them by the voice of Yahuwah that they needed to go before inheriting the land. They need to help their brothers. They could say no. Maybe there's going to be a destruction on them if they were taking the no as a decision, as an answer. But they also did it because of love. They wanted their brothers to inherit the land as well. So, are we doing the same? Are we loving our brothers? Are we helping them to inherit the land as these 2.5 tribes did? They were even willing to leave their families alone in order to go and march into the war, in order to help their brothers to inherit their portion as well. So, are we doing the same? Are we having the same attitude? Are we helping our brothers and sisters to inherit their portion? And this is a calling for us. We're not doing it. We have to do it, especially in these times. You know, let me read a few passages to you. In the book of John, Yahushua said the following, chapter 13, verse 34 and 35. It says, "A renewed or new command I give to you, that you love one another, as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this shall all know that you are my disciples, my taught ones, if you have love for one another." This is exactly the same example we see in these 2.5 tribes. Because also of the love, and not only that, because of the obedience to the voice of Yahuwah, but also because of the love they have for their brothers, they left everything in order to go and help them to inherit their portion. You know, and Yahushua said something very important in the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 31 to 40. It says the following, "And when the Son of Adam comes in his steam, and all the set-apart messengers with him, then he shall sit on the throne of his steam, and all the nations shall be gathered before him, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd separates his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then the sovereign shall say to those in his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the reign prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous shall answer him, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry, and we fed you, or thirsty, and gave you to drink? And when did we see you a stranger, and took you in, or naked, and clothed you? And when did we see you sick or in prison, and we came to you? And the sovereign shall answer and said to them, Truly I say to you, in so far as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me. This is an important lesson that Yahuwah is telling us in the words of Yahushua HaMashiach. That everything that we do to help our brothers in the same way that the 2.5 tribes did for their other brothers, the other tribes, in order to help them to inherit the reign. We're doing it for Mashiach. And if you're wondering who is our brother, I put a video study long time ago in this channel that is called Who is Our Brother? You can take a look on that. I don't remember what I shared back then, but I can give you just 2 passages that is basically the bottom line and the answer to the question, who is our brother? And we see it in the book of Matthew, chapter 12, 48 to 50. It says, But he answering, 47, it says, and one said to him, see, your mother and your brothers are standing outside seeking to speak with you. But he answered and said to the one who spoke to him, who is my mother and who are my brothers? And having stretched out his hand toward his taught ones, his disciple, he said, see, my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the desire of my Father who is in the heavens is my brother and sister and mother. And you know, Luke expanded a little bit this understanding in the chapter 8, verse 20 to 21. It says, and it was reported to him, saying, your mother and your brothers are standing outside wishing to see you. And he answered and said to them, my mother and my brothers are those who are hearing the word of Elohim and doing it. So it's time that we help each other. Who is our brother, our sister? Are those that are hearing and doing the word of Elohim, those that are doing the desire of Elohim. To those we need to help the most to inherit the portion in the same way that the 2.5 tribes did it, to inherit the land, to get into the kingdom. If you see somebody that is going through difficult times, if you see somebody that is going astray, it's our task in love to help them to come back and to go astray in the way of Yahuwah. If they're going, through difficulties and we have the means to help them, we need to do it in order for their faith not to be weakened, to the contrary, to be strengthened, especially in these times. If we have the chance, we have to do it, because if we do it for mashiach. This is the picture that I see here happening. And not only that, it's not only love that we see here. Also, we see an important message given by these 2.5 tribes, that they answer to Joshua ben Nun. And they answer Joshua saying, all that you have commanded us, we do. And wherever you send us, we go. According to all that we obeyed Moshe, so we obey you. Only let Yahuwah your Elohim be with you, as he was with Moshe. Whoever rebels against your mouth and does not obey your words, in all that you command him is put to death. Only be strong and courageous. What we see here is the picture of obedience. It's part of, I have been sharing this with you for a while already, is the 2-step salvation. Step 1, to get out of slavery by the favor and the grace of Yahuwah through Yahushua HaMashiach. And the step 2 is in order to get into the promises. And this is by obedience to the word of Yahuwah. And we see here that they were obedient, following the path of Yahuwah. And this is what Yahuwah is looking for you and for me, to obey his voice, to trust in him, trust in his path, in his ways and his word, to keep that in our heart always, everywhere we go. And my wife was telling me something that, is something correlated to this in the book of Revelation, chapter 14. And we see this happening in the 14400 that was chosen by Yahuwah. In the verse 4 it says, they are those who were not defiled by women, for they are maidens. They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them on. They were redeemed from among men, being first fruits to Elohim and to the Lamb. Obedience to follow the Lamb, to follow his steps. Obedience to the word of Yahuwah. This is what I see here. Let's continue and let's move forward to the chapter 2. If not, this is going to be 4 hours virtual house church. Maybe you're going to tell me we can't be 4 hours. I'm just thinking, not all, we have been talking about love. And I'm just thinking of those of us that are not able to join today, and maybe they're going to see the broadcast later on. It's not easy to see a video more than 2 hours. Actually, watching a video for more than 30 minutes is not easy. So I'm just thinking on the rest. So let's move on. Chapter 2, it says, and Yahushua ben Nun secretly sent out 2 men from Shittim to spies, saying, "Go see the land of and Jericho." And they went and came to the house of a woman, a whore, and her name was Rahab, and they lay down there. And before continuing, this is interesting on the parallels, the parallels of the word. And we see two spies. And you remember, it was sent two spies, the 12 spies to the land. Only two came back with a good report. There are two witnesses that are coming in the last days in order to proclaim the word of Yahuwah, in order to be a light in this world of darkness. There are two houses of Elohim, that we also need to be witnesses of Yahuwah. So there are so much parallel spies too, sent to the world. We have been sent to the world. Yahushua sent us to the world. Was part of, the first believers were the Jewish. They were from the tribe of Yehuda. It was the house of Yehuda only back then. But also Yahushua said, "I'm coming for the lost sheep of the house of Israel." So we see the same, the Great Commission to the two houses, in the same way that we see here the two spies, Yahushua, in this case Ben Nun, not the Mashiach, sending two spies, in the same way that Yahushua HaMashiach sent the two houses, sent witnesses to the world. In order to spy, we can think that we are spies. We're spying the land, we are spying the earth, because we are the ambassador of the kingdom of Yahuwah. It's the way that we're preparing for the coming of Yahushua, the coming for the kingdom of Yahuwah. So let's continue reading, and I'm gonna read, and then we are gonna share some of the thoughts. So, but it was reported to the sovereign of Jericho, saying, "See, men from the children of Israel have come here tonight to search out the land." And the sovereign of Jericho sent to Rahab, saying, "Bring out the men who have come to you, who have entered your house, for they have come to search out all the land." But the woman had taken the two men and hid them, so she said, "The men came to me, but I did not know where they were from." Then it came to be, as the gate was being shut, when it was dark, that the men went out. I do not know where the men went. Pursue them quickly, so that you overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof and hidden them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid out on the roof. And the men pursued them by the way of the garden to the forts, and they shut the gate afterwards as soon as the pursuers had gone out. And before they lay down, she came up to them on the roof. And she said to the men, "I know that Yahuwah has given you the land, and that the fear of you has fallen on us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away because of you. For we have heard how Yahuwah dried up the water of the Sea of Reeds for you when you came out of Mizraim, Egypt, and what you did to the two sovereigns of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom you put under the ban. And when we heard, our hearts melted, and there was no spirit left in anyone because of you. For Yahuwah your Elohim, He is Elohim in the heavens above and on earth beneath. And now, please swear to me by Yahuwah, since I have shown you loving commitment, that you also show loving commitment to my father's house, and shall give me a true token, and shall spare my father and my mother and my brothers and my sisters and all that they have, and shall deliver our lives from death." I'm going to stop there for a minute. There are so many things in the life of Rahab. She was a prostitute. It says here in the word. But even in her condition, she believed. There was a conviction in her heart that Yahuwah was an awesome Elohim, that Yahuwah was doing something with Israel, And there was the fear of Yahuwah in his heart, in her heart. You know, it's something similar to what happened to the Egyptian that came out together with Israel, because we know that it was a mixed multitude. That mixed multitude also feared Yahuwah, and they made a decision to leave everything, leave the world, the system of the world that in this time was Egypt, in order to follow Yahuwah. The same we see here in Rahab. And she made a decision. She feared Yahuwah, and she decided to leave everything else in order to be part of that people. And we will see in the coming portions what ended up happening with Rahab. And but this is an example for us that, you know, we always have these options, two ways. We need to decide if we're going to follow the narrow path or the way and broad and open path. We know that if we follow the narrow path, it's basically we're following Yahuwah and we are deciding for Yahuwah. We are deciding for Yahuwah day by day. And you know, today is becoming even more difficult. But that's why if we are holding fast to Him, we're going to be able to make that decision day by day that we decide for Yahuwah. In the same way that Rahab was deciding for Yahuwah, to have this conviction in our hearts that being to the side of Yahuwah is the best decision that we can make. And you know, it's so important that we see a similar story happening in the life of Ruth. And Ruth also was not part of the people of Israel. In the same way that Rahab, both of them were grafted in to the kingdom of Yahuwah. And not going into the details, but you know the story. Ruth also feared Yahuwah. She decided to leave everything in order to join the people of Yahuwah. That needs to be our conviction. That needs to be our heart. You remember what we discussed a few minutes ago? Our heart being the heart of Yahuwah. And it was so important that even Rahab, and I'm going to jump to another point just shortly, that even with that decision of being part, deciding for Yahuwah, she received a tremendous blessing. And this is my understanding. I can be wrong. Maybe you have a different understanding, but she received the blessing to be part of the lineage of Mashiach. You know, if you go to the book of Matthew, and this is a secret somehow here, that the white is mentioned here in the book of Matthew chapter 1. Verse 1 and 4, it says, And Ram brought forth Aminadab, and Aminadab brought forth Nachshon, and Nachshon brought forth Salmon, and Salmon brought forth Boaz by Rahab, and Boaz brought forth Obed by Ruth, and Obed brought forth Yishai. You see the beauty of all of this. We have two women that decided for Yahuwah. And in this case, Rahab was the mother-in-law, I think, of Ruth. They were relatives. The two women that they decided that were not part of the kingdom of Yahuwah, and they decided for Yahuwah, they became relative and they were part of the lineage of Mashiach. So can you understand how much important is to fear Yahuwah and to decide for Yahuwah, because multiple blessings will come to our lives. In the same way that the Yahuwah was telling Joshua, meditate in my word, in my Torah, Guard my Torah day and night, because only then your way will be prosperous. You will receive blessings. If we decide for Yahuwah, if our heart is for Yahuwah, we are going to be chosen. And we already were chosen by Yahushua, meaning that our heart is prepared and has the capabilities to have the heart of Yahuwah. It's only a decision we need to make in the same way that Rahab made a decision. And there is an additional picture that I won't go there because it will take more time. And I will invite you to take a look in a few videos here in this channel. Is that the picture of Rahab being a prostitute and keeping the two spies, saving them from the persecution. For me, it's a picture of Jerusalem. You know, Jerusalem became a harlot, became a prostitute. You can see multiple examples of that in the book of the prophets. But Jerusalem will come back again. Just read the chapter 2 of Hosea. You will understand when you look in the book of Hosea chapter 2 that everything that he is speaking, Yahuwah is speaking through the prophet in that chapter, is speaking about Jerusalem. How Jerusalem will bring that whore, that prostitute, back to him, changing the heart. And there's multiple secrets on that. And I see a picture here. Rahab deciding to go back to be part, to fear Yahuwah, to be part of the people. And if you're wondering what are the videos that I'm referred to, is part of the last days series. I think is the chapter 12, when I'm discussing about the identity of the woman. It's a lot of time, but it's a very good time to spend. Take a look at those videos. I expand in this understanding in more details. If I do it now, it will take 4 hours more. So I see that picture there. So let's continue reading, okay? So we see an oath going on with all of them. She was looking for salvation. She was looking for salvation for her house, for her relatives, and so on. And the answer from the two spies was the following. And the men said to her, "Our lives for yours. If you do not expose this matter of ours, then it shall be, when Yahuwah has given us the land, that we shall treat you in loving commitment and truth." So she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was on the city wall, and she dwelt on the wall. And she said to them, "Go to the mountain, lest the pursuers come upon you, and you shall hide there 3 days, until the pursuers have returned, and afterwards go on your way." And the men said to her, "We are released from this oath of yours, which you have made us swear." And let me stop just a bit here, because, I think it is a prophetic word as well. That the woman telling the two spies to flee to the mountains, to get away, to flee from the pursuers, and to hide there for 3 days. When I was reading this this morning, something came to my mind. And, again, the two witnesses that are going to be 3 days in the street of Jerusalem, and they're going to be resurrected. But the one important aspect is what the promise to the woman of Revelation 12 as well. If we go to chapter 12, verse 13 to 17, it says, "And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. And the woman was given 2 wings of the great eagle to fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time. And we know that this is 3.5 years. But I know that it's not exactly 3 years, but it's so similar to what we see here. 2 people from the kingdom of Yahuwah going to the mountains to be protected for those that are being wants to persecute them for almost a very similar time. So we see what Yahuwah and how Yahuwah protect his people. So for even with more reason, we need to believe that Yahuwah is with us. He will protect us through everything that we will go through. So let's continue in the book of Joshua. So it says, and the men said to her, we are released from this oath of yours, which you have made us swear, unless when we come into the land, you bind this line of scarlet cord in the window, through which you let us down, and unless you bring your father and your mother and your brothers and all your father's household to your own home. And it shall be that anyone who goes outside the doors of your house into the street, his blood is on his own head, and we are innocent. And anyone who is with you in the house, his blood is on our head, if a hand is laid on him. And if you expose this matter of ours, then we shall be released from your oath which you made us swear. And when we were studying the Torah, we came to one of the passages, I think is in the book of Numbers, chapter 30, when the Yahuwah is teaching us about the importance of everything that is going out from our mouth. Every time that we take an agreement, an oath, and we swear for something, that we need to be faithful to what we said. And we see here a practical example. How they were discussing, they made an oath, but there were certain conditions. So that's why we need to be so careful to everything that's going out from our mouth. Because if we commit something, we need to do it. We need to walk the talk. So let's continue. And she said, let it be according to your words. And she sent them away, and they went. And she bound the scarlet cord in the window. So they left and came to the mountain, and stayed there 3 days until the pursuers returned. And the pursuers sought them in all the way, but did not find them. Protection. Yahuwah protecting his people. Then the 2 men returned and came down from the mountain, and passed over, and they came to Joshua ben Nun and related to him all that had befallen them. And they said to Yahushua, truly, Yahuwah has given all the land into our hands, and also all the inhabitants of the land have melted away because of us. Just to go back a few verses, we see that the instruction for Rahab in order to be safe was to put a token, a sign. And we see multiple examples of this throughout the scripture. We see Pesach, they were the painting with the blood of the lamb in order to be protected from death. We see in the book of Chazon, Revelation, the 144,000 being protected from the plagues because they receive the sign of the name of the Father on the foreheads, also a token. We see the same thing happen in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 9, when we see the same instruction of the person that was going with the ink and with the pen, that they needed to put a sign, put the name on their foreheads in order to be protected from the destruction that was coming to Jerusalem. And we have a sign as well. It is written in multiple passages in the Brit Hadashah in the New Testament that the Ruach is part of the sign. And we have multiple other signs to be part of the people of Yahuwah. Shabbat is also a sign. It is written in so many parts of Torah. We have the sign. We are, not appointed to wrath, But that will depend on us if we remain in obedience to the way of Yahuwah, if we remain with our heart in Yahuwah in order to obey the truth, in order to endure until the end. We remain with that sign. In the same way that the Rahab was protected, and we will see that in later portions. But there is also something really important. I think is more profound. She was pleading for her house and her relatives. She was pleading for salvation not only for her. She was pleading as well for salvation for her parents, brothers, and so on. And it's so important when these two men said to her that everybody needed to be under her roof in order to be safe. If when the destruction was coming, somebody of them was outside her home, the blood was going to be on their own head. But if somebody of them was killed being inside the home, in the same roof, the blood was going to be under the spy's head. And when I was seeing this, I think something more profound I saw there. Why they needed to be on the roof, in the same roof. And before telling what I felt, I remember a similar story that's in the book of Bereshit, Genesis. And it's the story of Lot. And let's read it again because this is important. Let's go to the book of Genesis, Bereshit chapter 19, verse 12 and 15. So we know the entire story, so I'm going to just pick these passages just to reflect the same we see here in the case of Rahab and his house and her house. And it says the following: And the men said to Lot, these are the messengers that Yahuwah sent to Sodom. The men said to Lot, have you anyone else here, a son-in-law and your sons and your daughters, and whomever you have in the city, bring them out of this place. For we are going to destroy this place, because the cry against them has grown great before the face of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah has sent us to destroy it. And Lot, listen, and these last two passages is what I felt and what I saw, and this is important to understand why everybody needed to be under the roof of Rahab in order to be protected of the destruction that was coming. Because it's the same here that we see in the story of Lot. Destruction was coming to the city from Yahuwah. So it says in the verse 14, and Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who had married his daughters and said, get up, get out of this place, for Yahuwah is going to destroy this city. But to his sons-in-law, he seemed to be as one joking. They didn't believe the word and the testimony of Lot. His own family didn't believe in him. And when morning dawned, the messengers urged Lot to hurry, saying, get up, take your wife and your two daughters, listen, who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city. Take everybody who are here. Take everybody that is under your roof in order to be safe. You know, when I see this in the case of Rahab, the ones that they were going to be safe were the ones that believed in the word of Rahab, the one that they were convicted in their hearts that what the testimony of Rahab was true, the ones that in their heart they fear Yahuwah in the same way that Rahab feared Yahuwah. That's why they decided to be under her roof. Anyone else that were deciding to go out, because it was because they didn't have that conviction. It was because they didn't believe strong enough and fear Yahuwah in a strong way. And this is something for us today. In order to get that salvation, that for that reason Yahushua said that we need to endure until the end. And all of our families, friends, parents, or whomever is close to us that decide to believe in our testimony, to be under the same roof, they are going to be saved as well. It's the fear of Yahuwah. And just to close now, not to pass the 3 hours. To talk about conviction and also witnesses. Let's go to the book of Romans. Just to complement and complete this thought and this what I felt about conviction in order to be in the same roof. In the chapter 10 of Romans, chapter 9 and 10, Paul says that if you confess with your mouth the Master Yahushua and believe in your heart that Elohim has raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. For with the heart one believes unto righteousness, and one confesses with the mouth, and so is saved. Is conviction, belief in Yahushua HaMashiach and his word in the way of Yahuwah. And to close, the two witnesses came, and they came with a good report, different to what happened with the 12 spies. These two spies came with a good report in the same way that Joshua and Caleb came with a good report. So the question I have for me first and for you, are we coming with a good report as well? A report of fear of Yahuwah, a report that we are able to conquer the land, a report that we are able to conquer the land and to go through fear, shadows, whatever is coming, without being afraid, because we know that we are part of the kingdom of Yahuwah. We need to have that good report of the good news of Yahushua HaMashiach. So, brothers and sisters, it's been a long Virtual House Church today. And, we need to let the Ruach speak and guide us. If, Shaul was speaking until midnight in the story on the book of Acts, and he's guiding us to speak even more, we need to do it. We need to be obedient. So my prayer is that this has been a blessing to all of you, that Yahuwah has been speaking to your heart in the same way that he has been speaking to my heart. We have many things to study in the book of Joshua. I'm planning to publish maybe somehow what's going to be the next portions. So you're going to be prepared, do your homework, and study the portions as well. And we will see how the Yahuwah will guide us in the next weeks in this Virtual House Church. I know that he will be with us in the same way that he is going with us, is being with us today. So, brothers and sisters, has been something. Gracias. It's nice to see family here. I see my older sister joining here in the chat as well. This is beautiful. So I invite you for next week. We will continue with our house church. It's in my heart. I will continue doing until when Yahuwah decides to do something different. So I'm expect to see you in the next week. Keep the word of Yahuwah in your heart. Seek for the guidance of the Ruach HaKodesh. In this time of trouble, he will guide us in the truth, and we will receive the power from above. But always remember, the way to discern the spirits and the way to discern if we're following the Ruach is that the Ruach will always guide us according to the written word of Yahuwah, to the Torah and the truth that Yahuwah has been building up in us all these years. So let's increase in knowledge, let's increase in the purpose of Yahuwah in our life, building up on everything that we have been building up all these years. Yahuwah will be with us. Yahuwah will empower us. And it's no doubt in my heart that signs and wonders will be within us. He will pour out the Ruach HaKodesh in an amazing way, for sure. So let's keep praying for one another, loving one another, as we were studying in this portion. And I expect to see you next week. And we are going to finish this broadcast, like always, with the Aaronic blessing. And let me put the song for you, and many blessings to all of you.
יברכך יהוה וישמרך, יאר יהוה פניו לך וחונקה, יישא יהוה פניו לך ויעשה לך שלום, יישא יהוה פניו לך ויעשה לך שלום, ויעשה לך שלום, ויעשה לך שלום. Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Yahuwah te bendiga y te guarde. Yahuwah haga resplandecer su rostro en ti y tenga de ti compasión. Yahuwah alce su rostro sobre ti y te dé paz, te dé paz, te dé paz.
Shabbat Shalom. See you next week. Have a blessed week. Yahuwah be with you all. Shalom.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that y'all can hear me. And let's have a look at the Discord. So this is the Discord. And when you first join, this is the room that you'll be put into, which is the rules. You can just read through those. When there's an event happening, it'll be listed here. Usually we'll post those as well in the general conversation. So you can just click right here and it'll throw you right in the voice chat. This is where the main group of people speak. Then there's a bunch of different areas as well. These are called channels. I just said room, but we have Hebrew learning. You can post stuff that interests you about Hebrew. The biblical cosmology area. Dietary discussions. Torah singles room doesn't get used very often, but there's that. There's a health area. Prayer request. You can place your prayer request in here. We also have the 444 prayer initiative here. And then down here is where the voice chats are. When you're in a voice chat, if you're in this one, the general voice chat, the text will be in the general voice chat text. So if you don't have a mic or you don't want to use your voice, you can join and listen in here, and then you can text in here. Sometimes we're in this room. If we're in this room, then you would text in this channel. And then underneath is just different topics. You want to share some news of the world that you think is important. You can post it here. Music. There's a lot of people that like to sew and do different crafts, homesteading, food recipes you can share with others, your work projects, memes, all of Rob's Facebook notes, which you can't find unless you have the link, are posted in this room. They're sort of put into categories. If you don't have a Facebook, you can still, there's PDFs you can download if you want to read them. And I left all the links up here as well to the individual notes, but I've categorized almost all of them here. If you find any that's not here, which I doubt you'll be able to unless you have the link saved, you could share those as well. But so to jump in a voice channel, if you're new, the easiest way is just to, it'll be posted right here. So let's join. Hey everybody, you're live. Veronica? Well, I can't hear Veronica, but that's how you join, and you can see who's talking. They'll light up. So join us, fellowship. A lot of us have nowhere to be able to fellowship, so we join here. If you do have local fellowship, feel blessed because it's a blessing. A lot of us do not have it. Y'all have a good night. We are going to fellowship there. Peace and blessings.